A couple of weeks ago I had cause to go to the dictionary after an interjection by David Parker on the Prime Minister when the Prime Minister was talking about jobs in manufacturing. And Mr Parker interjected that that figure that the Prime Minister was using included agriculture, and therefore somehow it didn't count as manufacturing. So I went to Wikipedia and I found that indeed manufacturing is the production of goods or services. It could be handicraft to high tech, but it's certainly not limited to steel construction. But that seems to be the attitude of a certain member from Dunedin, the negative down in the mouth, glass half empty member for South Dunedin, because when we went to Dunedin last week, she issued a press release before we'd even done anything, actually, saying that Key had front to go down to Dunedin and suggest that there was no manufacturing crisis. In fact, he never said any such thing in all of that trip. But what we did do, I think, was acknowledge that there are challenges in manufacturing. But the government doesn't have the luxury of just focusing on the negative things. It actually has that tough job of focusing on the positive things that are going on in the manufacturing industry. And on Tuesday with David Carter, I met with some exporters in Dunedin and also the owner of Cal's Pavlova. Now, this is a great little organisation in Dunedin that I claim makes the best pavlovas in the country. My colleague Craig Foss actually disagrees with me, but I would suggest that Cal's is the number one, and they would normally employ about 8 people. At the moment, to manage the Christmas rush, they have 21 staff madly filling the orders. And, Mr Speaker, most of those pavlovas are going to end up in Australia. Talk about selling coals to Newcastle. This great little company is now exporting pavlova to Australia. The Prime Minister and I started our trip last week at a great wee company in North Taieri, the New Zealand honey company. Faced with competition from bulk product, commodity product coming in from China, they had a choice. They could either compete, add value, or fold. And they decided to compete. They're a Deloitte Fast 50 winner from 2009 or 10, and they're now exporting millions of dollars worth of value-added honey products into the UK and China. We then went on and visited Speight's Brewery, that great brewery in Dunedin, and while the Canterbury earthquake rebuild posed some serious challenges for the Dunedin workforce in losing its workers, at Speight's it's going the other way. There's actually workers coming down from Canterbury Draft and millions of dollars being invested in the production line at Speight's Brewery. And I understand they've announced just today the takeover of Emerson's Brewery, a fantastic boutique brewery in Dunedin. That could create export opportunities. What it will certainly do is put capital into the city for those fantastic people, the Emersons, to look at other investment opportunities. And we did go to some steel manufacturing. We went to Farrer's, a 140-year-old company. Yeah, they are. They're struggling, but they are growing in revenue, they are growing jobs, and they're growing new markets. And when the PM asked them if the challenges faced by the hillside workshops resulted in further job losses, would they be able, and the engineering cluster in Dunedin, be able to pick them up? And the simple answer was absolutely yes. So manufacturing's not just about steel, and it's certainly not just about, in Dunedin, what's done in Hillside Road. But I will say this about the member for Dunedin South. She has come out and support responsible oil and gas exploration in the southern Canterbury Bight off the coast of Dunedin. Well, it's a bit surprising that it's not surprising that you would say really, because she's been very quiet about it. No ads in the paper the way the rest of the Chamber of Commerce members were doing, welcoming Anadarko. No bold statements that say, yes, there could be challenges at Hillside, but there are also opportunities in the city. None of that, but she has quietly said, yes, she does support oil and gas exploration. And I think she needs to be braver about that and do what the other city leaders in Dunedin and the other MPs, certainly the national MPs in the south, Jackie Dean and myself, saying to Anadarko and Shell, bring it on, explore, do it responsibly, do it safely, but certainly contribute to the manufacturing and export opportunities that do exist in Dunedin despite the challenges.
Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.